Up next on Forward Focus, we're joined by our wonderful college and career readiness team, and they will discuss advanced learning here in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Hello, and welcome to Forward Focus, an AACPS program where we highlight our work to create a school system where everyone can belong, grow, and succeed. I'm Shannon Pugh, the Director of Strategic Initiatives, and we have two exciting segments today focused on AACPS's advanced learning programs. Joining me for segment one are Ms. Kelly O'Connell, Director of College and Career Readiness for Pre-K through 12, and Ms. Michelle DeJulian, Coordinator of Advanced Learning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome. So before we jump into details about our advanced learning opportunities for our students, I want the audience to have a chance to get to know you a little bit. So we're going to start with you, Ms. O'Connell. If you'll let us know what has been your professional journey, what have you done that led you to this position here in Anne Arundel County?
Sure. I was an elementary school teacher for many years where I taught first grade, second grade, third grade, dabbled in a little fourth and fifth in the summer, and then I became an assistant principal. From there, I was an elementary school principal for about 8.5 years, and in that capacity, I was mentoring lots of principals and working throughout the district where I was at the time, prior to coming here to AACPS, where I am fortunate to be able now to work with many, many school leaders and teachers throughout the district on lots of things in the College and Career Readiness Department, but that includes advanced learning.
How about you, Mr. Julian?
So I started my educational career actually working in a daycare center as a high school student, where I really fell in love with teaching students from the early ages. And then from there, I continued to begin my career as an elementary school teacher in both second and fourth grades, and then transitioned to a talent development teacher, and that was like a gifted resource teacher at the school level. So from there, I worked with K through 5. And then I really took that passion to the central office and began working within the ALPS office in 2011 and have been there ever since.
That's great. Mr. O'Connell, let's start with some basics about our advanced learning learner program. So just give us the overall, what's available to our elementary and middle school students when we think about advanced learning?
Sure. We're very fortunate here in AACPS to be able to offer advanced learning opportunities for all of our students in kindergarten through grade 8. When we talk about elementary and middle school, we have specialized curriculum in our elementary school grades, as well as specialized courses that were written specifically by our advanced learning academic specialists in coordination with our ELA and math offices. And we have many opportunities both during the school day as well as in the summertime that we'll be excited about to talk about today.
Awesome. So, Mr. DeJulian, can you just break down the difference between gifted and advanced?
Absolutely. So all of our students participate in a universal screening for gifted and talented education in grades 2, 5, and 7. And through that process, we identify students as both gifted and advanced. The students who are identified gifted score in the top 10% of their grade level, and the students who are advanced score in the top 25%. But both gifted and advanced students participate in ALPS programs in our schools.
Okay. And then can you elaborate a little bit more on the requirements to participate in ALPS programs?
Yes, so any student who's identified as a gifted and advanced automatically participates in our programs. However, we have a process for teacher recommendation for students who are not formally identified but are demonstrating readiness for those programs. And so when teachers recommend students in our elementary school, we have what we call a conditional placement process, where they participate in ALPS on a conditional basis, and if successful, they will receive an advanced designation. At the middle school level, that really is teacher recommendation for our advanced and accelerated courses.
So when we think about our elementary opportunities, if a child is in the ALPS program, how is their learning different than their other peers? What are some examples of what they might do that's different?
At the elementary level, our students participate in their Tier 1 Reveal and CKLA lessons, but there is a time dedicated in the schedule for enrichment. And during that time, our students participate in the William and Mary program, actually in grades 1 through 5. And then in Reveal, there's a time for differentiated instruction within the math block, and that's where our students in grades 3 through 5 participate in the M-Cubed curricula. Both the William and Mary and M-Cubed curriculum materials are developed for advanced and gifted students.
Okay. And Ms. O'Connell, is the ALPS program in every elementary school, and how do we make sure that students who might not traditionally have been able to participate are able to participate?
So the ALPS program is available in all of our elementary schools, and we work with our academic specialists as well as school leaders to ensure that we're really looking at student data through that equity lens and looking to ensure that all student groups are represented as part of the ALPS group of students who are accessing the curriculum. One thing that we're doing currently that I'm quite proud of is talent scouting in the EEE STEM classroom. Sometimes we see students in the STEM classroom that might not traditionally be students that we see in math or reading, but they are showing this high level of thinking and very creative. And we're training our teachers to be talent scouts, to look at students a little bit differently and to start to see their genius and their joy and identify them in ways that we didn't always traditionally, which is really helping us to find students who might not be from that traditional background where we used to kind of solely identify students.
And I think that's so important because when we think about, at least I think most people, when they think about gifted or advanced, just go to the core subjects, especially reading and math. And so there's lots of opportunities for students to have, to show giftedness and advanced in many things. So I didn't know about that. Scouting, I like the talent scout.
Yeah.
How about at middle school? What opportunities are there for our advanced and gifted learners in middle school, and what does that look like for them?
So as our students transition to middle school, students who are identified as advanced and gifted in mathematics receive the accelerated math or placed in the accelerated math courses. That's our Math 6-7, Math 7-8, Algebra 1 trajectory at middle school. Those courses are not exclusive to advanced and gifted students, but we have extended learner tasks built into that curriculum that teachers can use for students who are demonstrating readiness for those tasks. They're very open-ended tasks that really look at mathematics in a real-world situation. For our students who are identified as GT and advanced in reading, they're enrolled in the advanced language arts courses in middle school. And those courses really are built around the William and Mary program that our students also received at the elementary level. That curriculum is designed for advanced and gifted students, but it's not exclusive for advanced and gifted students. And our students will receive more complex texts. They're really looking at analyzing texts across genres and across content areas.
So I know a lot of families know about the identification of gifted and talented in elementary school, but how are families made aware of opportunities for gifted and talented and advanced in middle school?
I think we are doing work to improve our communication to families, and we most recently started a parent advisory group where we are partnering with families in order to get the messaging out even more widespread. This year we will have some informational sessions for families, specifically of gifted and advanced learners, to share with them the opportunities that their students are participating in currently and opportunities that they can participate in the future. We do have a very in-depth parent and family handbook that really outlines all of the nitty-gritty details on all of the offerings, how students are identified. But what we do want to make sure that we're doing is that we're not just relying on the schools to communicate, but that we are from the central office communicating more frequently and more widespread with our families.
So I want to move to our strategic plan. So our strategic plan was built by community members. There were over 60 that were involved in some form or fashion. And they were very adamant, as has our superintendent been, about we're not interested in everyone just meeting standards. We are interested in them being either exceeding or being, not just proficient, but above proficient. So how does the ALPS program or the Advanced Learner Program help our students and push them to those levels?
When we think about how are we not only meeting but exceeding those standards, the ALPS program really is a tool that teachers can lean on to ensure that the rigor that they're providing for their students are at high levels. For example, when our teachers are trained on depth and complexity and really thinking about very strategic questions that they're going to ask their students in order to get students to think deeply, to converse with each other in a more rich way, we find that it is increasing that rigor and preparing students for when they get into high school and they're participating in advanced placement courses that really do require quite high level thinking and rigorous writing opportunities. What we find is that teachers who are consistently implementing the ALPS program in elementary schools and in middle school, they are naturally increasing rigor for all. So it doesn't necessarily just help the students that are in that small group of ALPS instruction, but we're actually helping all students because the teachers are then translating this learning and these instructional strategies in the Tier 1 instruction. So we're increasing rigor for all students while making sure that we're exceeding those expectations for our ALPS students.
I think that's a great perspective, because when we think about that Tier 1 or daily instruction, that it goes all different ways, right? And so other students are able to benefit. So tell us about the opportunities outside the school day for our students who are advanced learners or gifted learners.
So our office offers a variety of summer opportunities for both our elementary and middle school students. So at the elementary level, we have an innovators workshop camp, and those students are engaged in the elementary project Lead the Way units. And so it's called Can We Save the Tiger? And they're looking at ways to save a tiger. So they're taking into consideration all of the environmental factors and all of the needs of that animal in order to come up with a real world solution to that problem. At the middle school level, we have something called our Novel Engineering Camp, and our students will read a novel and then come up with a solution to a real-world problem from the perspective of each of the characters in that novel. And so they go through the engineering design process in order to come up with a realistic solution.
And that really sounds like a lot of interdisciplinary opportunities. So students are really pulling from all different areas of knowledge and subject matter.
Absolutely.
So I always like to end on a joyful, happy note. So thinking back, and I know we're early in the school year when we're filming this, but thinking back either this year or last year, tell us something that you saw in a part of the ALPS program or part of in an advanced class that you would just like to share with us.
So I'm going to capitalize on that novel engineering program. Not only do we offer that in the summer, but we also offer that as a part of our advanced ELA curriculum at the middle school level. So all of the students who are enrolled in that course will engage in a novel engineering study around a novel in both 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And so one of those cool opportunities was I went to a middle school and they were presenting their projects to a panel of authentic audiences. And so some of them were parents and some of them were community members from businesses. Some were from central office. Some was the building principal. And so it was really neat to see these students presenting in a format almost like a television show where they're selling their product.
How about you, Ms. O'Connell?
There are so many moments of joy, it's hard to narrow it down. I'm thinking of one experience that I saw at the very end of the year last year at Hillsmere Elementary. It was a grade 2 class where the students that were participating in the ALPS program did a pretty in-depth study of language and how language has developed for themselves and for their families. And families were invited to the classroom to hear these second graders do these very elaborate presentations. They had lots of choice in how they were going to present, and I mean the room was packed full of families and the school leaders, and it was a really authentic way for students to share their information, and it was a really quite a celebration of success in that classroom.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today to talk about our advanced learners and then gifted and talented programs as well. And so after the break, we're going to shift our focus to high school advanced placement programs.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Bedell, and I am proud to be the superintendent of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, a district of 85,000 students and 14,000 dedicated employees. We are on our way to being the best school system in Maryland, and we could use your help to get there. Consider one of these many careers with us. So what are you waiting for? Apply today and help students like these be
AACPS awesome!
Welcome back to Forward Focus. For segment 2, we're turning our attention to advanced placement or AP courses in our high schools. Joining us again is Ms. Kelly O'Connell, and I'm excited to also welcome Mr. Tim Johnson, our academic specialist for advanced placement in AACPS. So thank you both for being here. So Mr. Johnson, Ms. O'Connell already had a chance to introduce herself to the audience. So will you introduce yourself and your background and your professional journey to where you are today?
Absolutely. I'm a proud graduate of Glen Burnie High School, class of 1997. I'm a social studies teacher, both middle and high school by trade. I was fortunate enough to spend several years in both the social studies offices and the STEM magnet programs prior to coming to the CCR, where I now serve as the academic specialist for advanced placement.
And it's a perfect role for you when I think back on all your work with advanced placement and all types of different things.
It's like coming back full circle.
I know. So let's begin with an overview of what advanced placement is. So let's start with, if you were meeting a family and they really didn't know what advanced placement was, what would you tell a family?
In the most simplest of terms, I would say it's a high school course where students are exposed to college level work. And then from there, students have the opportunity to earn college credit through a competitive examination or performance task. But we'll talk a little bit later about this, but the benefits don't just end with college credit as well.
Okay, all right. And how many AP courses do we offer in Anne Arundel County, and are they at all schools? How does that work?
Good question. So with regularity, we offer about 41 of the 42 AP courses that College Board currently provides. The only course we don't offer with any regularity is AP Latin. But a good percentage of courses are offered everywhere, but not every course is offered at every high school.
Okay, all right. And so students at different high schools would explore things that really interest them, and so they have opportunities there. So Dr. Waddell has, in both the strategic plan and also the blueprint for Maryland's future, has really talked about removing those barriers that exist either formally or informally that keep some of our students from participating in AP. So what does that look like here as we were removing barriers?
I think we've really come a long way to make sure that we're not being gatekeepers and that we're not keeping children out of advanced placement courses, but instead we're opening that door and we're letting schools and schedulers and counselors really know that advanced placement is for any student that wants to have that experience, that is willing to kind of put forth that hard work, and we have supports in place for our students. There are many courses that are specifically for first-time AP students. We are making sure that students are aware that they are not only allowed to take these AP courses, but that they're encouraged to take advanced placement courses here in AACPS. We're partnering with other programs such as AVID, making sure that we are really getting that message widespread for us. And we've seen that the data has been growing tremendously. We have increased the number of students that are accessing AP courses tremendously in the past 3 years, as we are also increasing our scores for those students. We're really proud of that.
That is great. So I want to go back just for a second to the AP courses that you mentioned, the number that you mentioned. I know that number has grown a lot in the last few years. So do we, as soon as we see a course, do we try to offer it? Is there a process? Do people pilot or field test these? How does that work?
Sure. So usually we do pilot new AP courses. A lot of times those courses have to be approved through a grading and transcript committee, and then once those courses make it through that process, then they are subject to board approval. We've done a great job of offering new courses pretty close to their launch date or maybe a year or two after. And a lot of it depends on a variety of factors, including the school's own programming, teacher and student interest, and what are some of the added benefits of offering that course in a building. For example, is there a outside credential that's attached to a course, and those sorts of factors?
And I know a minute ago we were talking about the increase in scores that we have in those pieces. And I also know that even though we're piloting some of those courses, the first time kids are taking them, our scores are actually very competitive to what we would see across the state or country. So we're very proud of that piece. But let's talk a little bit more about those scores. So we have increased number of students taking courses and then an increase in the overall score. Any number of individual students who might have already potentially earned some credit through AP programs last year?
I don't know if we specifically have right now that number in front of us. I'm sure we can certainly dig that up. We are waiting at the edge of our seat. Any day now we're going to get our AP honor roll data. It usually comes to us right about this time of year. And we have been working very closely with our school leaders and our advanced placement leadership teams at every high school to really make sure that we're looking at our data, our student group data. We're looking to increase the number of students that are accessing. There is an award through College Board for schools that is called the Access Award. And we know that our partners in the school support performance department have been working very closely with us and with school leaders. And we are anticipating that our honor roll data will be even better than last year's. So stay tuned because that's coming really soon.
And speaking of access, one of the trends that we have seen countywide is under an umbrella of courses that College Board labels AP Access courses. There are these newer courses that have launched within the last few years that are really designed for first-time AP students. No prerequisites, and many of them have a performance task component in addition to a traditional exam. So it's a great way to assess students in a different way to really appeal to kids with varying strengths and readiness levels for those courses. Those specific courses: AP Pre-Calculus, AP African American Studies, AP Seminar, and AP Computer Science Principles. And district-wide, we've seen both increased numbers in those courses and fantastic pass rates as well.
So I know we talk about the pass rate and the possibility of college credit, but I know there are so many other things that kids get out of participating in an advanced placement course. Can you highlight some of those other pieces?
Absolutely. So even if your child is attending or plans to attend a four-year university that does not award credit specifically for a course, many times a qualifying score on the AP exam will allow them to basically schedule out of those courses and allow them to take courses within their major far sooner than they would. So not necessarily credit, but it does help them move along their own pathway in a more expedient manner. But there's also a ton of research to show the value of it too. We know that students that earn a 2 on an AP exam are far more likely to enroll in a four-year college university. We also know that they, statistically speaking, they do better in introductory college level work, more so than their counterparts who did not take an AP course or sit for an AP exam. We also know that students that earn a 2 on their first AP exam are far more likely to get a qualifying score the next time they go through the experience.
And I found that as teaching AP myself, as I taught several kids many years in a row, and the same type of thing that we would see, which is great. I want to talk about, so I just mentioned I taught AP courses, you taught AP courses. So what do teachers do? What type of training do teachers receive before they dive in and teach 16-year-olds college level material, which is very different than teaching a college course. I'm teaching 16-year-olds college level material. So what training do we get?
Good question. So most of our AP courses offer what's called an APSI, an Advanced Placement Summer Institute. This is usually taken over the summer in either an online or in-person format, and for 4 days, a master teacher who has many years' experience teaching a particular course and is usually someone who scores the AP exam, is usually more often than not the consultant sort of running a given APSI. And through that experience, I mean, they go through the course description, they look at standards, they look at different ways to engage kids in the material, how to prep them for the exam. It is really a tremendous value for the teacher, and it's a great way for them to start networking with other folks that teach the same thing. Beyond the APSI, our office with select courses offers a mentoring program. Specific, it's something we're looking to expand in future years to cover more courses, and that provides teachers an opportunity to meet with folks who teach the same subject within their county. A lot of our AP teachers, unfortunately, are the only ones that teach that particular course in their building, so it provides a great support system for both new and experienced teachers, and they meet once a month, and they discuss all sorts of topics ranging from pacing challenges of an AP course to helping them prep for their annual exam review. Beyond that, there is sort of one-off professional development that's offered by College Board, and we're always looking for creative ways to engage our teachers as well.
So great supports there for teachers. How about for students? What supports do we have for students in AP courses?
So the schools are offering, many of the schools are offering mock exams, so the students can sit for kind of like a trial test prior to the test, which has been a great support for our students. There are some tutoring opportunities that some schools are putting in play several weeks prior to the test, really just prepping them so that they feel most confident and successful when they sit. Throughout the school year, though, we do know that our teachers are available to the students for individualized support. Many high schools have what they call flex periods or flex time in the student schedule so that they can monitor how they're doing, where they need help, and then go to those teachers to get that individualized support. A lot of our AVID students, who are sometimes our first-time AP students, are working with their AVID site coordinators or their AVID elective teachers to really monitor their grades and to seek that support through tutorials or by going to their AP teachers to get that support. We do have some exciting news on the horizon where we are looking to actually formalize a summer bridge opportunity for some students who will be new AP participants. So that's coming.
Sounds great. Let's talk about, under the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, there is funding that is dedicated to paying for AP fees for our students. So under that system, how does that work?
Great question. So if a student is identified as college and career ready, or it happens to be a farm student that qualifies for free and reduced lunch, we will pay for an unlimited number of exams for those particular kids as long as they are enrolled in the corresponding course. And for students who are not CCR ready, we will still pay for up to 4 exams each year.
Yeah. And that's really helpful if I'm a freshman or sophomore who I don't have that designation yet of being college and career ready. So I want to thank both of you for joining us today. It was great to learn more about the AP program. And so thank you again. And so that brings us to the end of Forward Focus. Join us next time.